Did we set it live?
Yep, it's on live. Okay, alright, we're good. Okay. Hello, my nakamatachi. This is Joy Girl, and we are back with Let's Talk Wano, a new episode of Let's Talk Wano. It's actually a new version of Let's Talk Wano because this is the first time we're actually having another content creator joining us on stream to discuss Wano together. So thank you, Randy. How are you, Randy Troy? This savage himself.
I am good. I'm good. How's everybody doing today? Happy to see everybody in the chat.
Yes.
A lot of people I know in the chat here.
Yeah, that's good. Always good to see. Lots of savages in the chat. And sorry, we typically late as always.
Yep, Randy late, late girl.
Late girl and Randy late. So, how have you been? What have you been up to today? I mean, the day's sort of just starting for you, isn't it?
Yeah. This is pretty early for me. I mean, I generally get up somewhat early now as a dad, but prior to my dad life, I'd probably be asleep for another few hours.
For another few hours, really? 9 a.m.
I was always a night owl.
Fair enough.
I was always a night owl. I would stay up until like 4 a.m. working on things, writing, whatever.
It's the New York life.
So, but we for everybody in the chat, we had a. I don't know how early or late it is for anybody else, but this was the time that made sense for our time zones. Because for Joy Girl, it's 11 p.m. for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 11 p.m. Well, yeah, the time difference between us. It's just, I think if we're going to continue with collabs, which is something that I want to do, it's going to be difficult sorting time with everyone. But we'll do. We'll make do. We make do with tonight. So.
Yeah.
So what I was just watching the new anime episode before coming onto stream, and so I mean it wasn't initially what I was planning on discussing today, but it's just sort of on my mind just because I watched it. Have you watched it? I imagine you've watched it already.
So I've watched it, and I shared my opinion on Twitter, which some people loved, and now I'm starting to see that some people didn't like my opinion. Now, personally, I think that 984 was one of the worst episodes that, at least in Wano, but potentially that has been in the series. It was lazy. I was actually planning on maybe even recording a separate video on its own, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get out my thoughts here.
Yeah, to discuss it. I mean,
so the Frankie stuff was pretty good. Like that was the highlight of the the highlight of the episode. Yeah. I know everybody's talking about the Zoro stuff. Honestly, I could care less about the Zoro thing.
Really?
The only thing I didn't like about the Zoro thing was that he didn't actually acknowledge that, he did it. Like even when Luffy unconsciously used it against Motobaru, Duval's water buffalo, he kind of realized something happened and the crew realized something happened. But Zoro just sort of went about his day. So it was weird, but that wasn't the worst part of the episode for me. The worst part of the episode was just the laziness of different effects and filters that were put on that seemed like the director was trying to copy Ishitani's work in a way, and it was just to grasp one iota of my power. And I there's so many tweets that I got about this. I haven't been able to go through a bunch of them, but a lot of them were like, hey, the director did this episode and this episode and this episode, and it's that's cool, but you don't hear people saying oh well, just because Game of Thrones season 8 was bad, it's oh well, Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 7 were good, so season 8 was good too. It's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you had some other good episodes. This one was not, and that's okay. And it should be okay to accept that and criticize it, and understand that and move on.
Yeah.
This was a lazy episode. They put, it was like they wanted to get Ishitani's lighting right, so they just threw a negative filter on. I don't know what was up with the Luffy cutout at the end of the episode over the flashback.
Exactly. Or not even
like if anybody understands Photoshop, like you understand exactly what happened. They just lassoed out the Luffy, put it on there, put like an inner glow, outer glow on the thing, put it in the corner, and it was just very distracting in the corner. If you're gonna do a flashback, just do the flashback. You're already padding it out for time in the first place. And then it's like most of the first half of the episode was redundant because you have that scene with Jinbei at the end where they're explaining what Luffy and Zoro did, and it's like you see them run off again, but we already saw them run off. But the way that they explained it to Jinbei was just better.
And I was like, with all the things that they actually extended throughout the episode, I was just a bit baffled as to if there was one thing that they were going to extend, why didn't they focus on Luffy's reaction at the end of the episode, which is actually something that's in the manga, a really important moment, when Luffy's angry about the food being wasted. And we saw, like, I don't think that was a full second that we actually, like, froze to see Luffy's anger. It was just, like, snap, it was to be continued straight away. I was just a bit baffled.
Oh, well, that's all for 985. I mean, I watched the coming attractions for the next episode, and the coming attraction for the next episode made it seem like they're going to stretch that out for potentially an entire episode or half of an episode, it seems.
It makes sense. So, all right then. I mean, I think you said that you don't really care so much about the Zoro. What about the shadowy figure? Don't mind so much about that either?
What, the reveal that it was Yamato?
Yeah, Yamato. Or is that something that, were you already thinking that it was going to be Yamato?
I like this thing that they're doing where they're showing Yamato early and like
seeding.
It started with 982. That kind of stuff is good. Like you're building up the suspense. Anime only still don't know who the character is because they're masked. That's fine. It was like when that chapter came out, there were only two options for me. It was either Yamato or it was Tama. So this just sort of clarified, at least, that it was Yamato that was behind the rock, or at least I would imagine they asked Oda, and Oda said, "Yeah, it's Yamato." So that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. The stuff with Robin and Jinbei was good.
Like you
all
said,
of the docking
I think
stuff with Tony.
Yeah.
All of the the fan service stuff inside the Brachio tank was unnecessary. But they have a base that they have to appeal to, I guess. But I mean, I'm just not part of that base.
Yeah. So I was always hoping and holding out that shadowy figure was actually Toki. Because I'm hard on the line that Toki's actually alive. So this anime episode made me think like, oh, okay, they're throwing in another hint that Toki is maybe actually dead after what we saw at the end of the Odin flashback. So I was actually going to ask you whether you think how much you reckon the actual directors, how much the team knows, and how much green light they get from Oda to do these things. Because after we saw what happened with Zoro, I thought, okay, maybe Oda didn't give the green light on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, how much they get from Oda, but I know that they do get a certain degree of information from Oda, so that they can properly foreshadow things. Like I fully expect Oda to say like, hey, this masked character is actually this character, so that they can, like, if the character's already appeared, they can get that voice actor to play the masked version of it, so that later on, that's why I still feel like Tenguyama Yatetsu is Sukiyaki, same voice actor. That's a situation where Oda came in and said, hey, when you get Sukiyaki, make sure you give him the same voice actor as Tenguyama Yatetsu. But as far as like what you're saying with Toki, like I was also Team Toki is alive, but then it was like it was pretty convincing in the episode where they showed that she died. Now that's not say that I mean it's still One Piece, so
I mean that's what I'm hoping for. I'm thinking that it's still just Mr. X, very intentional Mr. X.
Yeah, my initial thoughts when we got the storeroom silhouette, right? Immediately, I was like, okay, this has to be Toki because Kawamatsu would have just said it was Hiyori if it was Hiyori. But he said, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this person. So, and it just seems sort of out of place if he's saying that for Hiyori. But for the overall story and everything to really button up, either at this stage and everything, I think it needs to be Hiyori. I think if it's Toki, then Oda's going to take us into territory that we can't even predict. And as a writer that understands writers that want to get to the end of a story, putting a wrench like Toki into the mix just creates more chapters, more years of the story. It's like one possible thing of having Toki be alive and like a part of the Onigashima raid is that she has to use her power. So she either has to send like Kaido and Big Mom into the future or something so that everybody can sort of get stronger for a little bit or like regain their energy. Like that's the most contained way to do it. Then there's also the possibility of her like sending Luffy into the future by himself, and then we get like this sort of recreation of the archipelago where now Luffy's on his own again, maybe 2 weeks into the future or something, and he has to get back together with his crew. Kaido and Big Mom may have the ancient weapons by this point, and then it's like moving things towards the end game or creates something that goes longer.
I mean that's exactly what I was thinking as well. The thing about Toki, I think ever since Oda introduced it to us, it does make things a little bit more messy, and obviously anything with time travel just gets a little bit more messy. But also because of that, there are just so many different ways that Oda can take the story. And that's what I was thinking as well, that, that could be how we see Hawkins' prediction at the beginning of Wano get fulfilled. The idea of something coming on a month, someone's survival rate a month from now. Because obviously at this point, we're only 2 weeks into the future. And just going to a super chat that someone's just given, Silvers, thanks for the super chat. Toki being alive is still the likely outcome. We still don't know who it was who healed the scabbards. # no more carrot. So yeah, I mean, I'm on board. I think that it's Toki, but I can understand why other people think that Hiyori is the obviously more likely outcome, I think, in terms of sensibility.
Well, the reason why it would make sense for me if it's Hiyori is because that plot line needs to get wrapped up with Orochi and Zoro and all of that. If it's Hiyori, then we're moving forward towards an actual death for Orochi. And then if it's Toki, we're into some like time travel shenanigans, which in my opinion would be more fun, more interesting, more crazy.
Just doesn't fit with the timeline.
The arc up. But
the timeline that Oda set on himself, will make it extended, definitely. Okay, so I didn't call you here to just discuss Toki. I swear I wasn't just trying to push the Toki agenda. It's just that it was on my mind because of the anime episode that I watched just earlier today. It's the only reason why. So the actual question. What was that, sorry?
Oh, I said push your agenda. Yeah. It's totally fine.
What I was actually going to ask, and the sort of thing that I've been wanting to, the thing that I've been questioning most, I guess, with the recent chapters is obviously now in the most recent chapter. And this is a spoiler-free stream, guys, by the way. I should have said this at the beginning. Please, no spoilers in the chat. So, based on chapter 1019...
We're not here for that.
Yeah. So, based on chapter 1019, we're obviously seeing a lot of we saw the interaction. We're finally seeing Kaido and Yamato facing off. So obviously big backstory incoming. And I guess my question was, you know, what are you expecting most out of Kaido's backstory, Kaido and Yamato's backstory, or maybe just Kaido's backstory? I know you just recently did a video on that, so everyone, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Randy's video about Kaido and Rocks and their relationship. But did you have any thoughts that you want to share?
So I have that video out. You know, I kind of organized my thoughts. The video is called "The Wrong Way to Die," which is a reference to Kaido's one of Kaido's initial lines. You know, after he jumps off of the Sky Island and gets up in front of the Kid Alliance, and he says that Whitebeard did it right, in reference to, you know, him surviving the fall and not dying. So it just implied that somebody in Kaido's life had to have died wrong, and I think that that was Rocks. So the main thing that I'm looking forward to in a Kaido flashback, you know, which I expect most of the flashback to really focus, you know, on the relationship between Kaido and Yamato. But what I would really like is a focus on, you know, obviously the God Valley incident, getting some more, like, you know, stuff into the past, the relationship between Kaido and Rocks, which I expect, you know, as an apprentice on the Rocks crew, Rocks had to have been his Shanks, his Corazon, his Hiralook, you know, his Zeph, you know, whatever, the male figure in his life that he looked up to the most. And, you know, that's what's going to be the interesting part for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well that I think we are definitely going to be looking into Kaido and Yamato, but a lot of the interest right now is also about Kaido's relationship as part of the Rocks Pirates, how much he knows about, you know, about Joy Boy, about everything that happened, you know, during the Void Century. How much did Rocks know? Therefore, how much did Kaido know? And the reason why I thought I wanted to discuss this with you actually is because, so last time you actually came on and you were chatting with us during the stream, after you left, someone asked me a question about Kaido and his backstory, and I said, damn, I wish Randy was still here so that I could actually ask him, because I know that you really like looking into the mythology and like the legends behind stories and behind why Oda or how Oda pieces things together, which is something that I enjoy doing as well. And I looked through some of your videos, and I think this one came up in your Tama video, which we will get to later. But for now, I saw that you mentioned Kintaro in that video, and which was interesting for me because I actually thought that Kintaro could be very closely linked to Kaido. And I think that Kaido could actually be, Oda could actually really closely base Kaido's backstory off Kintaro. And the reason why I say that is because actually Kintaro's name, I found out that Kintaro in the Edo period was actually known also as, I think, Kaido Maru. So obviously there's a very clear relation there. And also when you look at the depictions of Kintaro, he's always, like the young boy's always shown, you know, wrestling a koi fish. And then the idea that he was, I think there are different versions to this about how he was, about his lineage, about who his parents are. And there's the idea that some say that, you know, he could be born to a mountain witch, some say that he could have been born to just a nice woman who later looked to become a mountain witch because she became haggard in the woods. But I think one of the versions also goes that his father, Kintaro's father, is actually the red dragon who lives in the sky, who impregnated his mother through a thunderclap, which again then has clear parallels to the Thunder Bagua of Kaido's attack. And so that really got me thinking. And knowing Kaido's epithet of the strongest creature in the world, I think I was personally, before coming across this legend. Pardon?
No, I was saying that his epithet would tie into Kintaro, you know, because that was what Kintaro was all about, you know, like taming the beast with strength,
exactly,
rather than, you know, using their ability to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was
the character in the story that most resembles Kintaro, though, is actually Sentomaru.
Yeah, definitely the appearance as well, the design.
Is just Kintaro all day. But yeah, you're right, and I mean, I think it would be interesting if the Mountain Witch sort of ties into that. I always saw the Mountain Witch as sort of a gender bent allegory for Tangiyama Hitetsu, and then Tama, but Tama, more so falls in line with Momotaro than anything. So I think that there's definitely some credence for this, and I think if you expand upon it, it'll probably make a good video.
Okay, thanks. Well, yeah, I wanted to see what your ideas on it was, because I saw that you mentioned it in your video as well. Yeah, but I think I agree that that's probably what we're going to see in terms of like Kaido's backstory with Yamato. But I think it would also be really cool if we get to see a lot more about Kaido, about how he became, how he came to have the epithet. If it was that, he's not just the strongest creature because of his relationship to the Rocks Pirates, but everything that happened even before that, maybe. Because I think in the story, Kintaro joins the group, joins Minamoto, I think his name is group. I think it's like, I don't remember what the name is. I think it's like the awesome foursome. I like to think of it as in my head, and then I just think of it as.
We have our guy JD Legend in the chat right now.
Hey, we've got Jay. Hey Jay, we've got calling me the Chopper lover from the Chopper hater himself. All right, Randy, you weigh in on this. What are your thoughts on Chopper?
So I can't slander Chopper because that's Chrissy's, that Chrissy loves Chopper.
Okay.
but I also can't slander Chopper because I actually do like Chopper. Chopper is like he's got the second best flashback in the whole story.
Oh, okay, big claim.
And actually I would go as far as saying like the best flashback in terms of contained story. Like if you take that story out, you put it in a movie somewhere, you slap the Disney logo at the beginning, and like it's a perfect movie beginning to end.
I agree. And
but then also, I mean, hey, my man slapped Queen up. His second Yonko commander level Chopper.
Not to mention that
on his name.
Chopper and Frankie were easily the best parts of this last episode. I think them two saved the episode for me. Just Chopper and Frankie. Without it, that episode would have been just a complete miss, I think. Actually, well, I'd be interested to see, Jay, have you watched the latest episode, and what did you think about Chopper? Still just doesn't care. Just doesn't care at all. I think
second, it's a great flashback, but second is aggressive. No, man. I mean, we're all able to have our opinions, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
some opinions are just bad.
It worked for me.
I'm just gonna. Someone gave us we had DJ Red Comet, I think he's from the Savage Pirates, says shout out to Captain Randy Choi, leader of the YouTube Savage Pirates chat gang. This is an awesome collaboration, love being a Savage Pirate. Thank you, DJ Red Comet. Thanks for that super chat. Maybe you've got to fire up some Savages. I don't know how you actually do that. I always found it really cool. I see you play like some music throughout your thing. I need to get this need to step up my streaming game.
This is for DJ Red Comet.
And okay, we'll answer some questions, but before we do that, we had some other super chats from Anime Nakama. Thanks for your super chat, and Ryo as well. I don't know if you guys asked questions, but there weren't any questions there, so just thanks for that. And we actually had a question from Big Mac, which is actually interesting because this is something that I've been thinking about a lot as well. Do you think Yamato may know who Hiyori is? What are your thoughts on this, Randy?
In terms of whether I think that Yamato knows the connection between Komurasaki and Hiyori?
Oh, I
think that Yamato knows who Hiyori is, like in general. I don't know if Yamato knows that Hiyori has been alive and has been posing as Komurasaki. I think that would be a surprise because that's information that wasn't in the logbook, and that was something that was kept hidden. The only person that really knew this information was Kawamatsu and Denjiro. So
the reason why I find this question like it's been on my mind is because of more rather than like Yamato and Hiyori's relationship, it's more being sort of the relationship between Yamato, Jack, and then maybe Hiyori, just because of the fact that, obviously they're all the same age. And then the fact that obviously Yamato Jack would have been sort of growing up in the same circle, being very close to Kaido, and then Hiyori somewhat as well. Maybe more of a relationship between Jack and Komurasaki rather than Hiyori as Hiyori. But do you have any I think you may have touched on this on your video as well, actually, about Jack and Kaido, the relationship between Jack and Kaido, as sort of like a relationship that could mirror what we come to find out about Kaido and Rox's relationship.
True, yeah. So essentially, you take Kaido, right? And you understand that he was the apprentice on the Rocks Pirates. We think about the other apprentices that we've seen in the series. Marco, the way that Marco looked up to Whitebeard, Buggy and Shanks, the way that they looked up to Roger. This is why I fully also expect that Luffy will get apprentices as well, Tom and Momo. But with Jack, we know that Jack joined Kaido when he was 8 or whatever. 8. I mean, I may be wrong on the time, but he was young as well. So Jack was essentially this apprentice. My headcanon with Joy Boy is probably that it's maybe listed in the prophecy and all of this that that it's a male or something. So Kaido was upset when he had a biological daughter, and I think that he's always probably taken Jack under his wing as his true son, because it was someone that actually followed in the footsteps that he wanted and all of this. So it's you see subtle little things, and especially during the fight with Nakamatachi and Inuarashi, and Jack gets roughed up. It's the first time that we see Kaido actively caring for somebody. He's very concerned for Jack. So I think that there is I think that there's a father-son thing going on. That's why I kind of wanted Yamato to run into Jack and have this sort of battle of the true son. So that, I mean, that there's possibility for that to still happen, but we'll see. Yeah,
that's something that I was thinking as well, that we actually really haven't, I think, in terms of whenever Yamato's around or whenever Yamato's being discussed, we really don't see that. We don't really see Jack ever in the vicinity, or we don't see his reactions, or his reactions is very stoic, very unreadable. He wasn't there in that time when, with the Tobiroppo and things like that. So that's something that I've been looking forward to as well, definitely. So then we've got Jonathan Grimshaw, thanks for the super chat. Have there been discussions on Hitetsu being from a sky island, being that he is the only one in Wano with similar wings? Okay. No, I don't. I've never really seen discussions about that. Is that one of your theories, Randy? Or
I just want to jump in. I just want to jump into that real quick. Right. So when we see Hitetsu a couple of chapters ago with Toko at the Fire Festival, he has taken his wings off. They are a costume.
Yeah.
So and Hitetsu is based off of the Tengu myth, which is essentially about a Tengus live in the forest and they're known for kidnapping children. So that's what Oda's sort of drawing upon there. Here's this old man in the woods that has Tama with him, but now has Toko. But it's a costume, and that's why I still hold true that. And there's even more evidence every day that it's Sukiyaki. It's Odin's dad. He's likely captured by Orochi, held captive because Orochi looked at Sukiyaki as the the reason for the downfall of the Kurozumi clan. So he probably kept them captive. That's why Brook found the Kokeshi dolls in that, like, essentially like a prison. You know, so there's like some sort of a cell underneath where the poneglyph was held. So that's probably where like Sukiyaki was held captive. We know that he was a Kokeshi doll collector because that's what the Oda box told us at the beginning. We see Sukiyaki with Kokeshi dolls in the Odin flashback. So it's like there's so many connections there. And at some point he just broke out, and to hide his identity, he like took a Tengu mask, which is also, fun fact, what the Sogeking mask was like kind of making a play on as well. But just ran off into the woods, found some wings or something, you know, and like now because everybody's on Onigashima, he felt comfortable enough to take the wings off and kind of be himself, you know, not taking the mask off.
Then going off on like on Tenguyama, because obviously a question that I've had from sort of the beginning of the Wano arc was about Drake, about DS Drake, and what his mission was in attacking the village very early on in the what Tenguyama told us very early on in the arc. And I've always sort of wondered as to, do you think that was DS Drake acting as a beast pirate, as one of Kaido's men, or do you think he was there acting as Sword?
Beast pirate for sure.
Beast pirates for sure.
And I think that, and I think that has to, I think that there's probably a larger thing, you know, like I have my whole Tama theory and all of that on my channel. But I really think that Tama's fruit is one of the things that was important to Orochi. And, you know, like when you see in the beginning of the arc, there's a lot of people that are surprised when they see it. It's like it's like something clicks for Gazelle Man when he finds Tama, and that's why he wants to bring Tama to Hold'em, and then Hold'em, you know, is like very surprised, like, it seems like you have a real devil fruit. And we know that, you know, and obviously, you know, anybody that knows me knows that I am like the captain of Kurozumi Tama. And you know, it's like that's I'm holding out for that one. But it just, you know, you go back to everything with Higurashi and Semimaru and Orochi in the flashback, and just like their absurd access to devil fruits, you know, even having the fruit for Kanjuro. So I think that Orochi, you know, he's a schemer, he's a planner. Here's a fruit that could, you know, potentially counteract Kaido's army. You know, let me get my hands on that so that I can, you know, turn the tide. May have planned to use it on someone else, but, you know, tinfoil and all of that when Sukiyaki escaped from him. You know, this is obviously just going off of my headcanon, fan fiction, if you will, whatever. Sukiyaki escapes, takes either the fruit and Tama, who could be, you know, Orochi's out of, you know, wedlock daughter and all of that, kidnaps with her and the fruit, and, you know, here you go.
Yeah, I'm glad that you bring that up, because so I think I did mention this during the pre-Revelry stream as well. So I did like my own take on the Kurozumi/Tama theory, and the reason why I actually did that is actually, it's funny because I think I made like a Tama video a while back discussing her devil fruit powers and the role that she'll play, you know, in bringing down Kaido. And I think I had a few people commenting about, you know, the possibility, what did I think about the possibility of Tama being a Kurozumi. And so I made a sort of a follow-up theory. That was actually episode 1 of Let's Talk Wano, when I was doing this one myself. And I did one, I made one discussing Toko, and I did one not knowing that theory is a Randy Troy original. So I just did one sort of just for the fun of it, just to discuss like a different take on the theory, just to, you know, go even wild and go even, you know, even further outside the box. So I'll share mine with you now, and I'll ask you what you think of it, and whether you think, you know, there are any merits, or, you know, whether you think they could sort of, you know, reconcile somehow. So I think, so my basic premise. And I do admit that there is, based on the manga, based on the series, that I think there are a lot more evidence pointing and supporting the fact that it'll probably be Tama being related to Orochi rather than Toko. But the thing that I just really couldn't shake was the fact that Toko, I just don't think her role has finished yet. I just don't think her arc, her character arc has finished in the arc yet. And the reason why I say that
and that's
is
even more.
Pardon?
I was just saying, and that's even more apparent with the
recent
episode,
the recent chapter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her coming back, exactly. And the biggest thing that I feel is because obviously Toko hasn't had sort of any sort of personal closure about Yasui's death, about even if Orochi dies, I don't know if she's not there to witness it, if she doesn't have any sort of role in it, I'm not too sure how much closure she can have, how much closure I'd feel on her behalf around that whole storyline. And the other thing was that, you know, obviously we have these two girls who are roughly around the same age. At the time of the video, I didn't know Toko's age. Now it's been revealed that she's actually slightly younger than Tama. But we've got two girls roughly around the same age, one with like a super overpowered devil fruit, and then one that just has, you know, just the defective smile devil fruit, just the complete opposite, two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And I was thinking maybe if Toko was actually Orochi's daughter, and Orochi accidentally fed Toko the defective the defective smile devil fruit, and maybe it could be because Tama was switched in Toko's place, and Tama ate the smile devil, not the smile, the correct devil fruit instead. And then that's when, you know, the whole switch up happened. They took Tama away, hid her in the woods, and then Toko also got discarded, maybe because Orochi just, you know, I don't think Orochi's type that would care for his daughter if he found out that she wasn't very much of a use to him. And then maybe that's why Yasui could have actually adopted Toko, you know, and maybe possibly out of guilt if he had a role to play in it, or maybe just out of, you know, compassion. Also at that time, it was before the Vivre cards came out, and it was actually before that it was revealed that Yasui isn't Toko's biological father. So before that was revealed, I was thinking this is sort of just this is just real tinfoil hat. But then afterwards, I'm thinking, okay, so I think really there is something going on here. And so I'm just thinking about the scene. If I could just paint like a picture for you, my headcanon is maybe Orochi in his like final moments actually sees Toko, and Toko is maybe standing above him, you know, standing in front of him. But the last thing that Orochi sees before he dies is Toko laughing at him. And he's, you know, he's sort of maybe hopeful, or he's confused, and he's, I guess, just baffled as to whether Toko is laughing as the result of a smile defect, and she's just unable to show any sort of other emotion, or whether she's actually laughing at him, and this is the sort of like last insult that that Orochi faces before his death. I'm getting a little bit. I love that. Typical drama troupe.
So I love that. While you were talking, we were also having a little bit of a beef in the chat, me and Jay.
Oh, what's Jay saying?
He's Team Toko. I'm Team
okay.
Tama.
All right. He's redeeming himself.
Now here's the thing, right? You watched the latest. You watched the latest episode. You've seen the other episodes and all of that. You see how Orochi is around these women. So I don't think it's. I honestly don't think it's out of the woods to say that they're not both his daughter. And we have like a Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones situation where he really just has a bunch of kids out here, and that's just I love the idea of Toko or just being Orochi's daughter in general, because then you have that, because the whole thing is. And even why I want Tama to be Orochi's daughter is for the added layers of aggression and like sins of the father and all of this kind of stuff. And the same things that apply to Tama in that nature, which are more tied to Momonosuke and the Kozuki clan's influence and all of that on that. But So, all right. So, let me start over here. So, with Tama being a Kurozumi, right? That opens up the questions and all of this of, was it right for what the Kozuki clan, did to the Kurozumi to everyone else? We have these scenes with Momo and Tama and all of that, and they're getting along, and it's two different generations, showing that like all of this past aggression between the clans doesn't necessarily matter, because here are two kids from warring clans just getting along. They just don't know that they're from warring clans. So you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to understand that, and it creates this sort of social question. And that's the interesting thing from an analysis standpoint going back. If Tama ends up being a Kurozumi. Now, if Toko ends up being a Kurozumi, then you have more of a focused thing on Orochi, and you could sort of analyze him creating his own downfall, and here he also like ruined his daughter's life by like killing her father figure, which was not him because she was abandoned. And then on top of that, everything with the smile. And then I like the added thing of Toko seeing Orochi at the end and laughing, because then we have the parallel to the obviously to the Yasue scene. And but here Toko would probably be actually laughing instead of laughing when crying. So that would, and if there is some sort of a cure for the smile fruit, or something, if that's like Chopper's big end game goal for the end of Wano, then that would be cool if she's already been cured, and then she's actually laughing for the first time because she actually can laugh on her own. So there's there's ways for Oda to make all of that really hit.
I like that about Chopper actually healing, and then Toko that's actually Toko's laughter, and we can be sure of that, whereas obviously the dramatic irony, Orochi doesn't know. I like that a lot. I just saw this and I thought this was funny. Kin Khan asked, can we get Joy Girl saying the savage soundbite? So I'll make an attempt. Alright. Okay. Savage. How did that sound? You reckon we could do a recording with that? You reckon I could replace it every time? Savage. What do we think?
Yeah, getting clipped now.
Okay.
It's getting clipped.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. Not bad. We'll have to get JD to do it. JD is the master of impersonations. I got told that I got asked to do Blackbeard's laugh the other day, and then told that I stand nothing against JD.
Jay, you still in here, man? We gotta do an impression of. I can't beat your Blackbeard, man, but we can go Moria for Moria. We can go Caesar for Caesar.
I can't do any of the laughters actually. So I told Randy this before, but I hadn't told. Let me ask the chat. Let me see whether we've got the 3 winners from the last Joy game that we did. So do we have Do-Re-Mi / Sean or Uzame and John O today? Do we have them in the chat? Let me know if you're here. If not, let me know when you get here, and then we can play round 2 of the game. So for everyone else in the chat, so like last on Friday when we did the birthday stream, we played a Joy game, and I didn't tell them this. We got Usame and Do-Re-Mi, so alright, awesome, we can go ahead. So I didn't announce this last week. Okay, John's here as well. I didn't announce this last week, but I was actually gonna plan on give the winner of the Joy game a Frankie figurine, and we had 3 winners, and you can't have more than 1 Pirate King, so we can't have more than 1 winner of the Joy game. So I was gonna get everyone to play. What do you reckon, Randy? You want to have a go at it as well? You should probably play the first Joy game, to be honest, because that one was actually just based off me. It was my birthday, so I just decided to go full narcissistic and ask them a bunch of questions about myself.
I actually start the stream with that because I saw your post. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Like I hope it was a good one.
Yeah, it was great. Did a stream, like I said, just went full narcissist and asked them a bunch of questions about myself. But let me make sure that you guys can play. So
apparently I'm frozen.
Pardon?
Said apparently I'm frozen.
Oh, okay. How's that? Is that working? Might be because I'm going between screens. So thought we could have a nice break and then let the games continue.
Get those landies out of the chat, guys. That was Joy Girl's Wi-Fi.
So Wendy, what's Paul Mao telling us all that we're Wendy's or Boy Girl? Alright, so everyone can play the game, but the winner is actually going to just be chosen from John, Usame, and Doremi, Sean. So, but everyone can have a go at the game. How's Chrissy doing? I think I saw Chrissy earlier in the chat. I wasn't too sure. I saw people
she
say
dropped
hi,
by
Chrissy.
for a second.
Oh, I must have missed it.
I saw her saying hi to everybody.
Oh.
She's watching Mars in the other room. She's great.
Let's see. What's going on? So...
Well, let's see. I'm looking at this poll right now, or the quiz thing.
So the one that I'm planning on giving away is the Bun Presto, the Grand Line Men series from Wano. Do you have the series, Randy?
So I don't actually collect the Grand Line Men figures.
Okay.
They're a little too tall for
Yeah, you do the WCF.
for what I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the WCF, and then I also do a bunch of customs from Chinese custom creators.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of studios, YP, BBF, G5, that I'm starting to move away from because their quality is just lacking now, I think. But their stuff just looks too realistic. It's moving away from like the
fun,
the actual WTF look of the figures.
Yeah.
So I mean, my whole thing with it is I like the scaling of the figures.
Right.
Like
okay.
I kind of get like a little OCD about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't want, like obviously, you take a Luffy figure, and if I take like a Kaido and a Big Mom, like it should not be the same size.
Yeah.
Or a Kuma, or anything like that. So any characters that are a little taller, I try to get figures that are a little taller, and those Grand Line Men figures are just like they're just wildly huge.
Yeah, they are quite big.
But I do have a couple of big figures. Another up at the top of my shelf there. Like I have a Vivi, a Frankie, Crocodile, and a Sanji.
Yeah, I think I can see the
my
Frankie.
favorite character.
So you're a Vivi stan?
Vivi's like low key my favorite character in the whole series.
Really? I don't think. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I respect that. Is there a particular reason why?
So when I was getting into the series, many years ago, it was like Vivi was a part of the crew for a really long time. Like when you're binging now and all of that, like it'll go like that. But like Vivi was a part of the crew for, like almost a couple of years when I was starting. So, I was spending time, it's like, and then you're rewatching the episodes, and the only episodes that you have to rewatch because you're at that point only, the show's only at the end of Skypiea, Davy Backfight, Water 7. If you're rewatching anything, you're probably rewatching Alabasta, Little Garden, Drum, whatever, and Vivi's there. But she, she's the person that taught Luffy, authority, how to be a captain. I thought she fit really well into it. She was intelligent.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of aspects of the character that I really like, and I'm excited for her eventual comeback, which will happen.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
You reckon she's gonna come back after Wano?
So one of the fun facts about Vivi is like you go back to the very beginning of Wano, right? Like the first chapter of Wano, and like if you're trying to find some sort of foreshadowing with everything, and I remember like the animators or the editor or Oda or someone like came out and they like the whole goal of Wano was to like it was like almost restarting. Like, this is Dragon Ball Z now. Wano is Dragon Ball Z. Like, you can start the series here and you can just go from here, and you don't even need to watch anything else. Like, they were trying to like bill it like that to try and get people back into the series or new people into the series. But in the very first chapter of Wano, like, to even emphasize that, Oda gave Luffy an Oda box. Like, this is the main character in chapter 9-10, and his first line is, "I can't wait to see Vivi again."
Oh,
like
right,
that's the line that Luffy has while he's got an Oda box and all of that. So it's very possible that Vivi shows up by the end of Wano, and I think that it's important for Vivi to be a part of Elbaf because she was a part of she was so integral in the Little Garden arc, which set up Elbaf.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's crazy thinking back. I must have missed that comment about what they said about how Wano is sort of like its own series that we can just go back into it. I mean, it's great talking to you and all the other like veterans. That's something that I loved during like the Reverie. So I didn't really engage with many other content creators prior to the Reverie or prior to the pre-Reverie, and it's something that I actually really want to do more because it was just a lot of fun, discussing One Piece with everyone, with other people who have obviously their own thoughts about how their own theories, but also just they're all their own ways they interpret certain things. So it's something that I've that I'm trying to do more now. Hence, why we have this collab stream, and that's also why I asked you as well, because like I said earlier, it seemed like we have a lot of there are a lot of topics that are where we discuss like sort of in the same sphere, but we have like slightly different takes on. The Tama one, like I said, I didn't realize that was actually your original theory, and that people were just asking about your theory, and I just did a different take on it. But I think even like with the other one, like the Kintaro legend that we were mentioning earlier, I saw that come up, and so yeah, which is why. Like I think I said during the pre-Reverie, I only started watching One Piece in late 2019, and then I switched over to reading when I caught up to the Fishman Island arc, because I thought I found the Fishman Island arc a bit unbearable to continue with the anime, and then I caught up madly during the when the pandemic started.
So if you ever do a rewatch and like you want to actually watch the anime from Fishman Island up, do you know about One Piece?
Yeah, I did hear about One Piece. I did try watching it. I think the reason why I stopped was because I couldn't get it to work with. I couldn't get it to cast onto my TV at the time. I think that was the reason why. And then I sort of just went back to reading.
So the best way to do it really is like you have to torrent the individual arcs and all that. And I mean it's One Piece it used to be user friendly for people getting into it for the first time. Now it's sort of set up to where like it only makes sense if you're rewatching it, because then you know what order to go and everything. They really have to redesign the site, and they told me that they're going to.
Okay.
But if you torrent the episodes, put them on your computer, open them in VLC player, and then just like HDMI your computer into your TV, then you just watch it. It's a game changer. Like like watching One Piece Dressrosa really like I've always loved the series, but just that alone sort of like reinvigorated everything. I was like, you know what, Dressrosa gets a lot of hate, I'm gonna watch it on One Piece. And I watched it a couple of years ago, and like it just made me fall in love with the series all over again. That's why I talk about it so much.
I'll definitely check it out then. I can see Chrissy's back. Hi Chrissy. Next time we'll have to have Chrissy. You on as well. This might be a good time to actually catch up on some of the chat. So we had, let's see what we were up to. So we had Kagar. So Kagar, I don't know if you answered my question last stream. How's the Joy sandwich going? You're gonna have to answer me that as well. But we've got spreading love and appreciation. The both of you are just the reincarnations of Joy Boy and other prolific beings. And Joy Girl in Grand Line Review's premiere of Dressrosa was everything. Congratulations, especially at the end. I don't know if you I don't know if you ever caught any of these, Randy, but I think it must have been starting from chapter 1015. I'm not too sure exactly, but I started doing like mini budget cosplays every chapter review of whoever the MVP was for the chapter. Like real budget cosplays.
I just saw your Frankie one.
Yeah.
I laughed. It was good.
Yeah, it's definitely just for a laugh, and it's a fun challenge for me because I'm in lockdown, so I can't actually go out and buy anything to make it more believable. So it's really just what I have, like rummaging, just through every like nook and cranny of the place. Yeah, but I also Liam, when Grand Line Review put out that call for videos for videos answering some of the questions about his Dressrosa project. That was actually my debut for the cosplay, and people don't know that because my debut was actually Senor Pink. So that's what he's referring to when he says I think my premiere, me in his premiere. So I'll post that photo as well actually, because that's the very first super chat that I did. Okay.
Check that out.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to see that yet.
The Dressrosa premiere was a lot of fun. So the premise is, I guess, like you said, that Dressrosa gets a lot of hate. And so Liam was asking a lot of fellow One Piece fans, what their take and how they found Dressrosa, a series of questions, and it was just a documentary of all of our like combined thoughts. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. It's definitely the longest video that Liam's had. Okay, so we've got Straw Hat Super Chat, thank you. We've got Kaido's flashback will be in 2 parts. Kaido will flashback abridged version, and we see him get his fruit at God Valley, and Yamato will fill in the gaps / upbringing. Yeah, so actually, this is it's not really a question, but it's, I guess, a topic. I guess it's a point that I've wondered about as well. What do you think about, there's a lot of speculations about whether Rocks had a devil fruit. If so, was it Kaido's devil fruit? Is that how Big Mom would have gotten it because it refruited nearby? Do you ever have any questions or thoughts about that?
So, I know that a lot of people think that Garp could have had the Gomu no Rocks could have had the Gomu no Mi, and all of this, and but the thing is, or the Yami Yami, or things like that, or the Mera Mera, you name the fruit, and someone's probably said that Rocks has had it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the thing is you go through the story. I mean, I guess maybe the Yami Yami would be the one that would make the most sense, because of how coveted it was by Blackbeard. But if it was the Gomu no Mi, somebody along the line of the story that knew Rocks, and there have been plenty of those people, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, like they would have had like a ... They would have been like, oh wait, that power, it's like it's the same thing with all the people that think, going way back, thought Roger could have had the Gomu no Mi, and we would get a Roger flashback and he'll stretch or something. No, at this point in the story, and even with the added emphasis on the importance of the Gomu no Mi, it's unlikely that any character that we know would have had something like that. Will Rocks have had a fruit? I guarantee it. Will it be something that we've seen? Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. But there's so little context with everything. It's like you look at Rocks' pirate flag, and there's like a flame around the O, and it's in a skull, so it's like maybe he had the Mera Mera. Maybe he had the Yami Yami, and the anime just colored it red, but it's really supposed to be black. we could speculate all day, but there's nothing concrete in the story that can like
100%.
actually pinpoint it. So we're just speculating.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's the same as well. I think that was also the same thing, you know, what happened. We saw that recently, you know, when we were all speculating about Yamato's Devil Fruit. Even now, after we've seen the design, it's just really all up for speculation. Until really, I think that's the greatest thing about One Piece as well, though, that really we can speculate all we want, but the greatest part is that Oda always finds a way to like surprise us still. And that's something that I really enjoy, that, you know, even though I rarely get any, you know, even if, you know, things don't happen the way that I expect, it's better than, you know, the way that we could have expected it, because he swerves us a different way. Okay.
Right. Like here, I you know, I just saw the Hawaiian Punch in the chat here.
Yeah.
It said Rocks had the jacket fruit. I mean, I think that's on point.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing too, is like he could have had the jacket fruit, and you know, like you see this fruit that's at, you know, the Colosseum and all of this, and you think it's lame, it's used improperly, and then you see someone actually use it properly. You know, that's the kind of thing that Oda could do. I mean, is he really going to do it? No, but I do think that's a funny comment.
Yeah. And oh, hey Vince Smoke, thanks for dropping in. Have a good night. I'm just catching up on the chat now as well. Rocks had Pika's fruit. We're getting a lot of talk about Hunter x Hunter as well. Where did you actually? I'm not too sure if Chrissy's still in the chat. Where did you say Chrissy's up to in Hunter x Hunter now?
So, she's still in the exam arc.
The exam. Okay, very early on. All right. Okay. No Hunter x Hunter spoilers then, please, in the chat. No Hunter x Hunter spoilers either.
It's taking us a while to get through it, because we only have a limited amount of time at night to get any episodes in.
Yeah, fair enough. I found that I really enjoyed Hunter x Hunter, but I always found that I'd binge watch at like, you know, plus 10 episodes, and then I'd take long breaks in between, so it took me a while to get into it as well, to finish it. But it's a good series, definitely a good series. Okay, so we've got another super chat from Yamil. Any king theories, his uniform, rings, or his race? So that's another one all up for speculation. The thing that obviously the comment that Big Mom made also makes it, you know, a lot more interesting. Burns everywhere. I think my idea when I think of King is, I'm not too sure whether you guys watched Rurouni Kenshin. I sort of think of like Shiship, and that's sort of like the line where I go when I think of King. But I don't know if you had other ideas. Oh, Samurai X. I think it's called as well, Kenshin.
As far as King's race, I really don't have any sort of speculation on that, because if it's supposed to be something, the implication from Big Mom's dialogue makes it seem like it's something that we actually just haven't seen yet. So if we have, great. The only like headcanon that I have for King is like he obviously is wearing an impel down like outfit. So, and we know that Queen was part of Mad, so it may be possible that like he you know, recruited these guys while, you know, he was like either, you know, while he was being experimented on by Mads and Vegapunk and all of that, like he said something to Queen that, you know, either about true history or whatever he learned from Rocks or Joy Boy or anything, and like Queen realized like, oh, I'm gonna follow you, you know. And then there might be another time when he was captured, you know, we know that he didn't escape from Impel Down, but you know, maybe King was one of the people that was like transporting him to Impel Down, and like he had a conversation with King, and like that was how he was able to get him on his side. And then like King never dropped the Impel Down outfit, but I mean realistically I don't think Shiryu has either, so
Next.
That's all I have as far as Canna.
Yeah, that's something as well about King's race. It's something that I've never really had huge thoughts or speculations about. Like you said, I think it's most likely going to be something like as it relates to the world of One Piece. I don't think we'll have seen it yet, which is why it's all that harder to put our finger on. We got another super chat from the DJ Red comment. All right, I'll give him the Savage. Okay, Savage. Okay, now you can go.
Savage.
Yeah. But he said Savage Pirates, fire emoji, Tama Gang. So okay, so he's on the Tama Gang. He's on your side, not with Jay. And we got the Last Orphan. Do you guys think that Brook, being that he was a captain in the Grand Line 50 years ago, might actually have encountered the Rocks Pirates? So as I don't think he was the captain, but as part of the Rumba Pirates.
At a point, he did become the captain.
Yep.
Calico left and all of that. He took over for a while.
Yeah.
He was captain when they all died. But he knew of Roger because Roger was a rookie at the time. So it's possible that he would know something about
Rocks Pirates.
But he was I'm sure he was in the Florian Triangle during the God Valley incident. So
yeah, it's actually interesting when you think about the timeline as well, because I think the timeline that we got about the Rocks Pirates has always been around, I think it's been around 40 years if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the time. I mean, obviously they could have been in existence prior to that as well, but I think that's the time that we've been given for the Rocks Pirates.
And I mean that's why people speculate that Shaki was a part of Rocks as well, because she has that line at during the archipelago. She meets Luffy and says like, "Oh, you're Garp's grandson." Yeah. I knew Garp. We used to fight about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
And okay, we've got a question for you, Randy. So we've got Big Mac, and also that question was from The Last Orphan, by the way. Thanks, The Last Orphan. And Big Mac asks you specifically, would you consider Yamato and Kaido's relationship to be similar to Luffy and Garp's relationship? Randy.
I guess from the standpoint of each of them wanting something different for them, something better, you could make that comparison. You take the relationship that Garp has, and this is my headcanon, that Garp is the leader of Sword, right? And that he is actively trying to undermine the world government and setting up pieces for, some sort of grand plan to pull the rug out from under them. Probably is working with Dragon in some respect, or both of them are going for the same goal in two different ways. I think that he wanted Ace and Luffy to become Marines so that he could fold them into the Sword Initiative. I think that once Luffy ate the Goma Goma no Mi, which was coveted by the world government, that's when he decided, all right, I'm going to throw Luffy into the woods so that no one comes for him, because that timeline makes sense. Luffy was just hanging out in the village, prior to that. Second he eats the fruit, Garp's whoop, off you go with Ace. But when they decided to become pirates, that sort of messed up his plan, and he couldn't protect them. He couldn't protect Ace any longer. And if he had saved Ace at Marineford, it would have just messed up everything that he was working towards against the world government.
Absolutely.
Now, in comparison to Kaido and Yamato, I think that it's very possible that, obviously Kaido wants Yamato to be the shogun of Wano, and that may have some sort of ties into why Wano is special. But it's also, maybe prophesized that Joy Boy is, the direct son of somebody, and that's why, Roger immediately said oh, well, my son will do this. And maybe that's Odin had something in the logbook about Momonosuke being special. And, that's why Momonosuke said, I really can't like, I can't afford to die. Because they may not know who it is. They just know that it's the son of somebody. But I mean, everybody is the son of somebody, or the daughter in this case. But since Kaido had a daughter, I just, I don't know if Kaido calls Yamato his son because he thinks that that's what's going to make the prophecy come true. I think that there could be something there, but I do think that there are definitely differences between what's going on with Luffy and Garp and Kaido and Yamato.
Yeah. And I think Kaido and Yamato's relationship, the thing that I've been more like interested about, in I guess for me in the more recent chapters, is that earlier since when Yamato was introduced, I was still holding out the possibility that maybe Kaido actually cares for Yamato as his son, and the idea that maybe there is a bit of like respect that Kaido obviously trusts Yamato enough to become, that he wants Yamato to be the next shogun. And then what we're getting more and more recently in the recent chapters is that actually, like, when they say that the Beast Pirates are a system of, a meritocracy, it seems like, they really believe that that's something like through and through, that Yamato isn't someone that Kaido, considers the next shogun maybe because of any sort of like heritage, the fact that he's the heir, but more so maybe even because Kaido knows the true potential of whatever devil fruit Yamato has. The idea that Kaido says, in the last chapter that I recognize your value as a soldier, that really stuck out to me because, like I said, earlier I thought maybe there's a bit of respect there's a bit of hope that they could rule together, and now it's really like Kaido just values Yamato as a soldier, which is something that I found interesting.
I mean, there's definitely like this aspect of disappointment, right? But there's also like running theme in the story about how kids break away from their parents in general. So, it's like Luffy, Dragon's trying to take down the world government. Luffy is going to take down the world government, but he's not trying to. But the thing is he's following in the footsteps of what he believes to be Shanks' footsteps. Sanji with Zeph, Law with Corazon, and like all, every Ace with Whitebeard rather than Roger. Like, there's always this sort of aspect, and now like we're seeing that with Yamato, that instead of like trying to be Kaido or anything like that, it actually looks at Odin as like a father figure to the point of wanting to just be them, which I still think is like a strange concept, but we'll see where Oda takes it.
Yeah, definitely. Next question, we got a super chat from Giannis. Thanks, Giannis. Thoughts on the new Onigashima project? Are we going to see it? Do you have any fears for the One Piece live action and censorship? Love you guys. As for the One Piece live action, and I'm not too sure what you mean by censorship, but for the live action, the last I heard that it's been headed, or it's been taken over by it's being headed by people who are actually fans of the series. So as long as they've got that intention there, then I'm excited. But I think you might have more of an idea about the production of the One Piece live action. I'm not too sure what the censorship part means. I
don't think that we're gonna have to worry about things like censorship and all of that when it's on Netflix. I mean, they're gonna be targeting, like, I imagine their ideal age range is gonna be like 15-year-olds. But if it's good enough for a 15-year-old, then it'll work. It's not going to be a Sunday morning cartoon, like the anime is in Japan. So there's going to be blood. There's going to be different things going off. Like, are people going to get their heads chopped off? No. Is Whitebeard going to lose half of his face? Maybe not. I mean, it'll probably have the same level of censorship that the anime does in comparison to the manga, except that I believe that they'll probably go the route that Zeph eats his leg rather than gets it cut off.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't realize. So I did when I said that I obviously started watching the anime first, it wasn't until like ages later that that my friend told me that in the manga it's actually that Zeph eats his own leg, and you know, such a huge difference. So yeah, huge difference. Yeah. Okay, so next.
No, high hopes for that.
Yeah.
High hopes.
We've got Paul Mayo. Paul Mayo, thanks Paul Mayo. See, I knew it. Paul Mayo in the chat. Woy World featuring Wendy Woy. So I think I asked earlier, where's Paul Mayo giving us the Woy World and Wendy Roy when I think the internet was down. I think it wasn't internet. It's not my internet. I sorted that all out. That was actually my biggest fear, that my internet wasn't going to handle the stream. And figuring out how to have like multiple screens so that we could see both Randy and myself in the stream was one of the most like stressful things. I started trying to figure out how to do this like overlay thing around like I think 1 p.m, maybe even earlier than that, and I only really finished at closer to 6 p.m. And then even then, part of the reason why we were late is because Randy and I were on, and my camera wouldn't work, my light died on me, I have to buy a new light, guys, and then he couldn't hear my mic, so I had a lot of technical issues today. But we're good, we're going well so far.
We're here, we got everybody
exactly.
in. We're here, everything's good. We're talking One Piece.
Yeah.
Look at that, 400 people in here. That's awesome.
That's amazing. And I've been seeing this a lot. So yeah, if you guys haven't already liked the stream, then please like the stream. And make sure to leave a like, comment, all the algorithm stuff. Actually, this is something that I asked. Jay confirmed this for me last stream as well, but I didn't know this. Did you know that people leaving a dislike on your video actually still helps with the algorithm apparently? Apparently it counts as engagement. I had no idea. It sounds seems a bit counterintuitive, but anyways, I'll take it.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, you look at some of these videos that have millions of views, and you know they have thousands of dislikes. So
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, checks out. The pirate hero says, "I love."
But also, you have to work in the case of if a bunch of people really dislike it, then people are watching it to see why people dislike it.
Yeah, any press is good, any news is good news. So, we said okay. I also this isn't oh, where'd it go? The pirate hero says likes the Zoro and Sanji figures in the back. I actually did that as an unboxing one chapter review. I can't remember which chapter it was, but whenever we had that awesome moment between Sanji and Zoro, I unboxed that during a review actually. It's nothing. What I have behind is nothing. Yeah, Nightmare Luffy as well. That's one of my favorites. That's the Thousand Sunny that Liam and I built together. Took ages. Have you ever built one of those ships, the model kits?
No, I don't have the patience to build figures. I just like to open the box and pull them out. But I do the Sunny that I have. Chrissy bought me.
Oh, that's nice.
A bunch of years ago, and that's what sort of sent me down the rabbit hole. I only had like a couple of WCFs. And I purposely didn't buy any of the crew except for Vivi because I was like, if I buy one, I'm gonna want them all.
Yeah.
And then Chrissy bought me the Thousand Sunny that came with a Luffy, and I was like, all right, well, I got to get the whole crew. And then I was like, well, then let me do this, and then now I have what's behind me.
Yeah, I mean, only. So
that's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's I'd have to take the thing off.
Yeah, that's alright. How long did it take you to collect all that? Would you say?
Maybe that's worth it. Let's see. I don't know if you can see the Thousand Sunny now.
Yeah, I think I can see it. I think that's it. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Giving everybody in the chat where to go. But yeah.
How long did it take you to collect all of those? Is that over?
So really, I would say that all of this, I sort of did all of this in the past 3 years.
3 years.
I mean, I always had One Piece merch. I mean, maybe 3-4 years. I've always had One Piece merch, but You know, like I even have figures that I had when I was like 13 or something, you know, that I bought in the early 2000s, little 5 inches that I got from Japan. But I got my first WCFs in 2016 when I went to Japan. I bought the VV that's on my Alabasta shelf, Pirate VV. Bought a Bellamy figure, pre-time skip Bellamy, and Gin.
You got a Gin figure. That was all I had
for a couple of years. What's that?
I like that. I like that you've got a Gin figure.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Chrissy says that I should like, where's Waldo, my Gin figure in all of my videos, and just sort of put him around the world because everybody thinks Gin's in everything.
Yeah.
So I should just like put him in the Marineford display, put him over on Alabasta, put him in Wano, and just like have people try and find him. But I keep forgetting to do it.
That would be funny though, if you just saw like a moving Gin. Did you see? I think they've got released. I think I recently saw that they've released new the Onigashima WCF figures. I think I saw one Luffy punching one of the fodders, one of Odin. I think it's WCF.
So right now the WCFs are they're starting production on Onigashima figures. The first waves have been announced, and it's the whole crew plus Kid and Law, but they haven't released any photos for it. They just announced that like that's the first 2 waves of that. But Shonen Jump is doing a special release figure thing. They usually do this like once a year. 2 years ago it was a 2-pack of Luffy and Nami, and then another one of Zoro and Chopper. And those ones that they do with the Shonen Jump end up being like nicer than the ones that like are actually in the WCF line. Last year it was Odin and Roger, and then there was a Kaido and Luffy. This year it's Yamato and Ace.
Oh, okay.
And then a 3-pack of Gear 4th Luffy, Law, and then Kid in his mech.
Oh, okay. I'd like to grab that. I do have a few WCF. I think actually, let me see if I can go grab it. Give me 1 second. I think I've prepared it, but I didn't have it close enough for me earlier. It's the I think I only brought the Shanks and the Ace earlier. I've got the others in my cupboard, but I don't know if you can see. Actually, my camera's over there. But haven't. Nice. Like I said last time.
I have both of those.
Yeah.
Right in my my Marineford thing. Sorry, we're nerding out about figures, guys. I know you guys want to probably hear about other stuff, but this is fun for us. So I have that Shanks right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. But,
yeah, I can see you pointing.
And then the Ace is at the center of the Marineford over there.
Nice.
Same one. Same bird.
Do you have the Marco? I've got the Marco as well. I just didn't bring it with me.
I have this custom Marco that I really, really love. This one, it's like easily one of my favorite figures.
Oh, yeah, that is clean. I like that. I like how it's you've stayed true to like the scaling, the small sizing as well. That's amazing. I don't think I've seen like it in such condensed the custom ones. I usually see them like pretty big, but that's mad. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that group really went off on this. You know, like you can put it up to a light, it like shines through like it's translucent.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's really cool. I like that a lot. I think you're getting a lot of respect in the chat as well. I can see. So okay, we'll get back to the chats. And I think actually I don't know if we answered this part of Giannis's question. Thoughts on the new Onigashima project. And obviously the new Onigashima project is underway already. And I've actually made a video about, about what will happen. I'm not too sure how likely it is we're going to see it now, because based on what we've seen since I made that video. But my whole thing since, beginning of Wano and and Momo's role in Wano is that obviously we're going to have to see him. Oh, still flexing. I love that. That is okay. That I love that so much. My goodness.
Of course, I have packed up Zoro on top, as you got to.
That's amazing. You gotta grab like, I don't know, bandages or something, tie him up, wrap him up. That's...
You know, I keep saying I'm going to do that, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah. That's sick.
But trust me, if they ever make a packed up Zoro, it's gonna be the centerpiece of this area.
You got a lot of people. You're gonna have to be really careful with your privacy. I think a lot of jealous people in the chat. You got JoJo style. What's your address, Randy? Just let me steal that for a sec.
The Onigashima project only makes sense if the raid fails and then they go off to get the ancient weapons.
I like that with the mochi. The level of detail on these custom figures is amazing. Look at Katakuri's face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These are awesome. I want to figure out a way to like get this. I actually have a whole cake shelf. I gotta redesign it so I can put that Katakuri on there.
Yeah.
It's already like filled up.
I see what you mean about the scaling as well. I think the problem, especially that I've got with like the Grand Line men, Grand Line lady stuff, is that you know, the sizes, just the inconsistent sizing of the figures. But I like that a lot. I like that it stayed compact, those custom ones. Those are cool.
Yeah, because it's like, here, you look at the... This one's kind of stuck for some reason. You know, I'm gonna let that one live. See, I don't know why this isn't. Maybe I must have like fixed it so it didn't fall. I was gonna like show the scaling between this Blackbeard and like this Luffy. Like this makes sense. I don't know if you can see this, but like, it makes sense, and that's the way I like it.
Definitely agree.
Get my Luffy. Yeah.
All right, we'll get back.
The chats.
Yeah, we'll get back to the chats. Yeah. Where we said, I told Randy that we'll try to cap it to 2 hours because so people on a lot of the people in the chat will know that my camera tends to die around the 2-hour mark. So let's try to get through the chats.
Gotcha.
Before
so let's definitely get through the super chats for everybody because I know that we've missed a lot. So.
Okay, so the next one we've got Ryo. Thanks, Ryo. What do you expect for the end of Wano? The biggest thing that I'm personally expecting for the end of Wano is that I want to see Luffy punch Kaido and defeat Kaido just as the sun is rising. You know, just as the dawn is rising, and you know, for it to symbolically have the borders open. You know, keeping true with all the other arcs where we see Luffy, you know, punch Enel, you know, ringing the bell at Sky Island, you know, with Doffy and the strings, and like Crocodile at Alabasta. So I want to see something similar here. I want to see, you know, the symbolic meaning with the sun rising just as Kaido's getting defeated. Is there something that you are expecting for the end of Wano more specifically?
For me, I'm expecting something really dramatic and tragic to happen by the end that leads us into the next arc, and that's all I really want.
Really? So when you say that, do you mean like you don't think Wano is going to be saved?
So I think that Wano is going to be saved in the sense as they're going to beat Kaido, right? And I think that they're going to think that they've beaten Big Mom, or CP0 is going to be an issue. But then Big Mom is going to show up maybe, you know, like at the party or something, sort of like this guy showed up at the end of Thriller Bark and is going to cause some havoc while everybody's still recovering. And, you know, like I could see like a situation where like, say, Usopp is like off getting supplies or something by the beach, and like Big Mom just sort of rolls up, steals his soul, and then bounces. And then they're like, "Oh, Usopp," and then it's like, "Oh, now we have to get his soul back." So then they follow Big Mom, and the story continues that way.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, or Luffy that like is unconscious, like he was at the end of Thriller Bark. Like I just want something. I don't want everything to go right. I want Wano to get saved, but then I want something to go terribly wrong to show that there are stakes when you go up against Yonko.
Yeah, I can see that. That definitely makes sense for me, especially as long as Wano gets saved. My biggest thing about, about a different, bigger enemy coming up is just that obviously I don't think Luffy went through all of this just so that he could leave Wano in the same state. He obviously has to fulfill his promise. So as long as, that's resolved, I'm fine. We've got Roy Hudson. Thanks, Roy. Cole argued in the past that Garp was on the same level as Virgo. Do you both agree? If not, what level is he on? Also gotta go soon, but love you, Joy Girl. Okay, so this was 30 minutes ago, so I'm not too sure if Roy is actually still here. If you're here, then thanks for the super chat. If you're not, sorry we didn't actually get to answer your question whilst you were still here. My apologies for that. I don't think that Garp is on the same level of Virgo. I definitely a lot higher. Yeah, higher, much higher. Not at all. Garp's level or Virgo's level? Garp's level, I think, yeah.
Garp's level is his own level.
Yeah. There's a reason why he has the standing that he does. Garp's one of my, I'd say outside of the Straw Hats, probably very close to being one of my favorite character. We'll go to Maha AUT. Thanks. Are you finding a Garp figurine?
No, I mean I do have a Garp figure, but I'm just putting the Kuma back.
Oh right, okay.
No, Garp's on his own level.
Yeah.
He went toe to toe with Roger. So if you're saying Virgo and Garp are on the same level, then then that means that that Virgo has to be Pirate King level.
No.
For everybody that wants the power scalar voice in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not much into power scaling either. I don't do very much of that, but I think that's a clear one that I could have a clear answer to. Okay, so we've got Maha AUT. Have you guys seen the Blackbeard, Octopus, and Kraken fruit theory? That stuff is definitely canon. Best I've seen since Randy's Law Sword theory. Okay, I haven't seen that theory. But that's a big claim saying that that's the best that he's seen since your law theory, Randy. Have you seen do you know about this octopus theory?
I've not. I've seen it shared around. I know that it exists. I thought it was like an interesting premise. Now, I haven't watched it, but if it is suggesting that Blackbeard already has a fruit, then that's in line and keeping with my own headcanon that he ate a fruit that allowed him to eat other fruits, which is why I've always liked the Cerberus theory, because then he would have 3 heads and he could just feed the fruit to 3 different heads. But I'll check it out. I like the idea of Blackbeard already having a Zoan, though. That's something that has always already been my headcanon. If he's an octopus, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think is it octopus that have 3 hearts? I don't know about or is it stomachs? I know that octopus have like some sort of additional organ.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe that's where this is coming from. I'll have to touch up on my biology. I didn't do so well at that at school, to be honest. Okay, we've got Carl Ravel, plan on streaming with Ragnar D. So like I said, we've got Randy as our first collab today. I am trying to line things up for future streams, and so you'll just have to keep wait for that, for new, more, and other exciting guests in the future. I don't know, Randy, if you have any plans for Ragnar, but like I said, it was fun talking to everyone at the Reverie.
I would totally collab with Ragnar. Ragnar was like one of the first people in the YouTube community, if not the very first person to like share the law theory around.
Oh, okay.
So I got a lot of appreciation for that guy, and I think he's really good at what he does.
Next question. The one kid, thanks for the super chat. What if Kaido showed up at Marineford instead of Shanks? That's another thing, because it's just too speculative. What was Kaido's? Why would he have showed up at Marineford anyways? You know, what was his goal? What was his objective? You know, I think he would have loved. Okay, so this is something that's actually a different idea that I have. That I was going to touch on earlier. I'm not too sure how much time we have now, but I think, based on my understanding of Kaido, which the abridged version would be that I think the thing that Kaido is really seeking out at this point isn't just necessarily to be a legendary figure, or even that he just wants death. I think the biggest thing that Kaido is seeking out at this point is actually that he wants to be remembered. And so the fact, all of these actions that he's taking, you know, finding the One Piece, going up against, finding the ancient weapons, starting the greatest war in the world, I don't think it's necessarily just to secure his death or even to become a legendary figure. I think it's so that he can make sure that he will be remembered, and that he will be remembered after he dies. And I think that's, you know, based off, you know, what we've seen from the series, his dialogue, the fact that he says he wants to find the One Piece, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever said that he wants to become Pirate King, which is something that Big Mom said herself, but Kaido hasn't ever said it. And I think this could go with, you know, what you were saying, Randy, about maybe because of what he witnessed, you know, in terms of his relationship with Rox. And maybe it's not enough to be a legendary figure. Rox was a legendary figure, but after he died, that was all, you know, that was all forgotten, that was all covered up. And so Kaido is making sure that he can really ensure that he will set up a scene where people will witness his death so that it can't be forgotten. Even when we go back to his introduction, when he you know, jumped off the Sky Island, I thought it was interesting that not only is it a unique way to die, which would make it legendary, but he also had an audience. He wasn't shown being like hostile against any of the people watching, and I think that's because he wanted those people there. He wanted to make sure that he has an audience so that it's not something that can just be hushed up. So if Kaido was at Marineford, I think personally that Kaido would have loved it, just based on that assumption that he would want to become an infamous character, so that even if he goes out at that moment, he would ensure that that goal. But what about you?
My question if Kaido went to Marineford is just what side would he have been on, you know? And that's because he's obviously buddy with the world government, because the you know, CP0 is there, and he's working with Doflamingo to, you know, broker the weapons for the celestial dragons, and like kind of funding these wars in a way. So would he have gone there to fight Whitebeard, or would he have been on the side of Whitebeard as an old ally? You know, so there's like this gray area of Whitebeard, of Kaido, as to like what his goals are. You know, 985, he says that he wants the ancient weapons. He essentially wants to go against the world government. But meanwhile, he's got the world government, you know, playing Go in one of his rooms right there. So it's, you know, it's very strange. It's very muddied. But I do think that if Kaido did show up, I don't think Ace would have died.
I think
you know, and it's like,
yeah, go on.
I mean, there's also like this part of me that just, you know, it's like, is there this element of fate in One Piece, you know, or is it, you know, there's no fate but what we make for ourselves, like in Terminator? And it's just like, Shanks stopped Kaido from getting there, but why did Shanks get involved? What was Shanks trying to prevent? What was he trying to protect? You know, is it, you know, as we get more into this Joy Boy prophecy and all of that, and, you know, and like my own headcanon of like Garp's morals and motivations in Marineford, which we talked about earlier, you know, it's like, what if Ace needed to die to propel Luffy to get to where he needs to be? And then it's like, well, Shanks knew that Kaido would probably like create too much chaos and then like potentially interfere with what the natural order of events if both of these guys are clued into some end game stuff, you know, because Roger knew the true history. Shanks seems to know some things. You know, we don't know what he knows, but he seems to know some things more than he lets on, more than he should. And maybe Kaido's the same way. So I don't know.
I guess my answer to your earlier one about whether like whose side he would be on, going still with like my headcanon, I think Kaido would have just chosen whatever side that would just, I guess, grant his wish of dying. Maybe like no side at all, maybe in between. But yeah, a lot of questions about, you know, his role, about his, I guess, his goal and why he would have showed up and what exactly each of these figures know. It's like something that's getting, you know, even the idea of destiny like popping up more and more, and what Kaido knows about Joy Boy. Just crazy reveals incoming, I think. We got Joey D. Don. Do you think we get another Big Mom flashback? Can you talk about how you see her story concluding? How are Big Mom pirates still relevant to Wano / the story? As for Big Mom's flashback, I don't think we're going to get so much in terms of her flashback. But I think she will still play some role in the future, even maybe after Wano. Obviously, Randy thinks that Big Mom might be the big figure that actually causes the tragedy at the end of Wano. And I think there is definitely still more for her, especially the fact that we actually haven't seen the Big Mom pirates. The fact that apart from Perispero, you know, the rest of her children are sort of to be seen. I think that means that suggests that we're going to see more of her.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a dedicated Big Mom flashback, but we're technically going to get a Big Mom flashback whenever we learn more about Rocks, because she's going to be there, and that's what we'll get. The first Big Mom flashback that we got set up this idea for memories and what happened with Mother Carmel, so that has to come back in some way. Big Mom has to be those memories have to be jogged, whether that's by pudding or by you know, there's the theory out there that the CP9 the CP0 agents that are on Onigashima right now are some of the kids that were at Linlin's 5th birthday party or 6th birthday party, whatever it was, and they got away because if you go back and you look at those kids, one of them has like the exact same mask as what the you know, what one of the guys has. One of them was a long arm, you know, and this guy's a long arm, and we have no idea who these characters are, and that would be a good twist. And since they're already here, you know, they could say, hey, you know, like, you really kind of like ate your mother figure, and, you know, that could sort of send her into a rampage. And if that happens, then Big Mom could get defeated here. But if not, I think, you know, we go to Elbaf, Pudding gets involved, and you know, I would love to see some one-on-one fights against the Big Mom Pirates or anything. I would love to see like an element of growth where, you know, I don't know if they necessarily need like really hard fights with them, but I don't know. I still really want to see Usopp versus Flampe, because that just fits in the line of like Usopp's trend of just taking out like girl characters.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think with the mask and stuff, the theory about that, I did see that, but I never really like paid so much attention to it, just because I just found it hard, you know, thinking about how, you know, they would have had to escape from that time that, you know, Big Mom ate everyone. So I didn't really think of that deeply, but I agree that it would be fun seeing, you know, Big Mom pirates fight more, and it would be, you know, it'd be awesome watching the fight between Usopp and Flampe. That would be a lot of fun, actually. Okay, so we got Yamil, thanks for your super chat. Could Kurozumi Higurashi be an ex-member of Rocks? It would explain how the Kurozumi got all the devil fruits, plus she briefly turned into Shiki. Yeah, that's a I never really thought about that one, but yeah, I think that's definitely plausible. Again, like the ex-member of Rocks is something that's just so many people could be linked to that. You know, there's a lot of people like, you know, Green Bull could be linked to that. You know, you could throw any names around. It's just we really just don't know. But I like the link to Kurozumi, to Higurashi having all of those devil fruits, because that's obviously a big question about why there are so many devil fruits at Wano, as a closed-off country. And the thing about Shiki, I think that's a manga thing. I mean, that's an anime thing. But knowing that obviously, that the anime obviously has some details that we don't know, that Oda might have already told them.
Well, it happened in the manga too. It happened in the manga.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about the
Higurashi.
Turning into. Sorry, I was actually thinking about the movie. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking about.
Yeah, no, in the flashback, one of the things that Higurashi changes into is Shiki, and it's like very obvious from the eyebrows in particular.
Yeah, and the stuff about the devil fruit, I think that makes sense. I think. Do you have any other people about? Actually, we touched on this already about who could be other members of Rocks. Talked about this.
Shaki, Bakken, Higurashi.
I never really thought about Higurashi.
Potentially Zeph, potentially Kureha. You know, I mean, like these are like older figures that you know could be involved with all of that as well.
I saw the Zeph one. I wasn't too sold on that one, but the about Kureha, I saw that one and I thought that one could work quite nicely as well. Actually, you know what? With Kureha's knowledge about Goldie Roger being the first, sort of character to tell us about Roger's real name. I like that one a lot. And Yamil gave another super chat. If you had to eat a Zoan fruit, what would it be? I would probably have to say the Tori Tori no Mi, the Phoenix. But I don't know if that was a already existing devil fruit or if that was for me to make up my own, but I'd like Marco's devil fruit.
Without skipping a beat, I would have said the same thing if I was asked first. So.
Yeah. Should have passed that on to you.
If I had a choice, I probably wouldn't eat a Zoan at all.
I wouldn't mind if I had Marco's.
But if I had to, then it would be Marco's fruit.
Yeah. The Hawaiian Punch, thank you, super chatter, new equipment fund. Thanks the Hawaiian Punch. I'll get a new light. So I'm using my smaller light because the one, honestly, just before I was about to say, okay, we're going live, and I was like, oh crap, my light just turned off, and then it wouldn't turn back on. And then Paul Mayo again as well. Thank you, camera and a new light fundraiser. So Mr. Morch had his plushie telethon. Apparently we're having a telethon about getting Joy Girl some better equipment.
Or a light. Yep.
Yeah.
Good on you guys.
Yeah, thanks guys. Brandon King, thanks for the super chat. Thoughts on Bonnie and Kuma relationship in Sorbet? This is actually something interesting that I thought I'm not too sure if it got touched on whilst I wasn't there in the reverie, but it was something that I thought was going to get brought up. And I think the question that I have about Bonnie is, sort of like the chicken and the egg scenario. Is Bonnie the real figure, or is her name's escaping me.
Connie?
Yeah. Or is it Connie? So because I think it's possible that maybe
Bonnie is something that she created when she escaped from the clutches of the world government. I mean, that's possible. I think the real question is really just what is Bonnie's true age? Because her fruit can manipulate that. So is she really someone old? Is she someone actually younger?
Yeah.
I don't think that we'll find out that the age that she is when she puts on the Bonnie facade is the actual age. So
yeah,
there's a lot that could be speculated on, but and there's things that I forget, what was it? Kuma is based on a real person. Bart. So I have to
I think I came across that before as well. Yeah.
And if that comes into play, man, what was it? It was something. It was something very interesting about the end game, and I have to go ahead and reread up on that. But I think that like the real life person that Bartholomew Kuma is based on, I think will play a heavy role into like the Sorbet Kingdom and all of that. But I think my personal headcanon is that he's considered the tyrant, right? But he carries this Bible around. So I think that something was pinned on him, or he was forced to do something, and he's been like repenting for it ever since.
It's an interesting one. Anything about Kuma's always really interested me because Kuma's, I think, probably my favorite warlord, I'd have to say. And when I was talking about Bonnie's age, I was actually thinking that maybe Connie could be the real form. Could could actually be Connie, and maybe Connie could be like Kuma's mother or something like that. But I also like that there's like a lot to explore about Kuma's epithet, and I like that one about being something pinned on him, or if he had to do something, feels forced to do something, and he's been repentant ever since. Would make a lot of sense why he's joined the Revolutionary Army as well. But yeah, it's interesting. We got phased. Sorry if I said that wrong. Fast maybe. We got. So, any thoughts on the recently announced One Piece short movie that will blend live action and animation? I don't think I heard about this one. A short movie that's going to blend the live action and the anime. I hadn't heard about this movie, but hey, the more One Piece, the better.
Yeah, there's a little trailer for it. Lucy B, I think Lucy's in the chat. She sent me the trailer for it, and it looks very interesting. It looks interesting. I think they're doing it for the volume 100 whole thing for that. So
yeah, nice.
Like you said, more One Piece content, the better.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we've got DJ Red Comet. Best collab stream, awesome balance between anime and manga discussions, fire emoji ×5. What are your all thoughts on NL referenced in the 1019 chapter Waldo portrait, and how does NL fit in with Blackbeard? I don't know really how to answer that question. I'm not too sure of NL fitting in with Blackbeard. Is this to do with NL coming back from the moon, obviously, and then
so I think what they're saying is I think they're asking if we think that Anel being on the Where's Waldo thing is a foreshadowing for him coming to Wano. At first I saw the one of the biggest things, literally the biggest things that pops out of that thing is Samwon Wolf off to the left, and that's. But I didn't find Blackbeard in it, but I did see Samwon Wolf. So it's like, is some of this stuff meant to be foreshadowing? But then there's strange characters in there that really aren't going to play a role in Wano. I think a lot of it is just very random, and a lot of it is just to get us guessing. Will Eno play a role in the story later on? Absolutely. Will it be in Wano? I do not believe so. I think it'll either be in Elbaf or during the final war.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about the relationship between Enel. I think the fact that we saw a lot about Enel's adventure in the moon definitely means that we're going to be seeing that coming back. But based on the Where's Waldo or Where's Wally, like we say in Australia, is I made a joke about that during the review, that the possibility of seeing all of these characters who aren't currently present at Onigashima makes me think, are we going to see them? But personally, I don't think that there's a high likelihood that we're going to be seeing them in Wano, in the arc itself. We got Jose.
It may have even been a joke by Oda.
Yeah.
It may have even been a joke by Oda because of how many people thought the storeroom silhouette was Enel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was crazy going on for a while. We got Jose with thanks for your super chat. What do you think Yamato's devil fruit is? So I know that the popular one is the Kirin. I know that you touched on that in your video as well, Randy. First things that I said was that it obviously looks like a mink Sulong transformation. I think it sort of also like looks like a fox maybe, and I know that we've cancelled out like the possibility of another kitsune because Katarina obviously has one, but I don't know, maybe like a different version of an Inu or maybe but I know that Kirin is the more popular theory at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, mythological like Inu no Mi model Kirin or something could make sense, whereas like what is it? It's the Inu no Mi Kyubei no Kitsune. That's what Katarina Devon has.
Yeah.
So it is very fox-like to me, and that's what initially jumped out at me. So you know, I mean, there's different tales about Kitsune, so it could still be some, you know, some other yokai or mythology regarding a fox.
Yeah, I think they say that there's like 13 types of kitsunes.
The Kirin or the Chilin sort of makes a lot of sense, especially that it's not only does it have a fox nature to it, Yamato's face has a very deer-like shape to it as well, which is like very much the Chilin.
Okay, so we got another question. We got a question from Morning Morality. Thanks for the super chat and thanks for this question because you're allowing me to push my agenda again. Who do you think Marco was talking to on the ship? Scopper maybe? Is there a fourth commander? My immediate response is that's Toki. And I'll until maybe the anime is going to try throw me off again, but I really think that that's Toki because I think that's the chapter. I'm pretty sure that's the panel where we see a tiny bit of the clothing of that figure, and it's the black and white stripes, which is actually garments that Toki wore in sort of some of the panels that we saw her in the last moments of her flashbacks. Not in her very last moments, but sort of once prior to that when she's looking at Momonosuke and Hiyori. So we know that she at least wears or owns clothing similar to that design. So I'm going to say Toki, but what do you think, Randy?
Are you talking about the ship, Neko's ship?
Yeah, on 983. I think that was chapter 983, or maybe it was a bit before that.
So that person that was in the corner of that. I mean, I've always just assumed that was Izo.
So
you know, I mean, like I know we speculated a lot about it when the chapter came out. You know, people were like, "Oh, Scott Caban," or this, you know, the person that was talking to Crocus in the cover story and all of this. But I don't think Toki, if they were alive, would have ever left Wano. I think they would have just propelled themselves to the promised time.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of the I know when Izo finally came out and he was revealed, I know that a lot of those questions got subsided. The only reason why I still hold out for the fact that it might be Toki is the fact that I think when we see Izo's not wearing clothes that has that design. I'm pretty sure that is the panel where we see the stripes, the black and white stripes. But maybe it is just the simple as Izo, or maybe it's just the misdirect.
We don't have to wait much longer to find out because the anime will put us in, and the person has a line. True. So we'll know based on the voice actor who says the line.
That's true. That's very true.
Just like what they're doing with Yamato.
Yeah. Okay, so Morning Morality asked another question. Could Brooks's captain be connected to Bonnie? She's named after Anne Bonny, and he was named after Calico Jack, her husband. And I'm so sorry.
That's interesting.
Do you guys mind if I quickly run off to the bathroom? I've finished like a 1.5 liter of water, and I was trying to hold it for as much as possible, but I really don't think I can hold it anymore.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
I'll hold it down for a little
thanks.
bit.
I'm sorry about that.
All right, guys. How's everybody doing? Hey, here we are.
Savage. Bro, look, you got the heat on feet, bro.
Oh, we in here. Savage. Savage. We've taken over the Joy Girl channel now. EOS Studio says apparently in Japan the Chielin is sometimes confused with the tigers. Maybe Oda had the idea of Yamato being a tiger but wanted to subvert people's expectations with the switch up. Well, I know that everybody wanted the Byakko and all of that. But we'll see. Ryo with the lavish bracket super chat.
In a catch. Got it.
Yeah. Chin wants the Kermit show now. Oh, man. Joy Girl's gonna come back, watch this, and this is gonna be like, hey, what is going on? What happened when I left? Hagar, Randy, thoughts on Greenbull and Brook being the captains of the Rumbar Pirates? Greenbull being the captain of the I mean, I don't know the I don't know about that. I don't know what Rumbar would have to do with Greenbull.
Okay,
but back. Hey, look at Ryo blessing Joy Girl.
What's this? Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Ryo. You were saying Joker, I think. So it's a question to Joker. It's a super chat for Joker. But thanks so much for the super chat. I was actually gonna say, so it's 1:15, and like I said, we were hoping to cap it to 2 hours just so that I don't have a stream fail where the camera dies out. So we'll try to rush through these super chats, but I'll have to ask everyone, thank you so much for all the questions and thank you so much for the donations, but no more super chats from here on out. Actually, how are you going for Randy with your time? I mean, how's Mars, how's Chrissy handling things?
Oh, everything's great. This is we're as long as we're done in the next 5-10 minutes here, I think everything will be fine.
Okay, all right.
But shout out to Ryo.
Yeah.
Really,
big shout to Ryo.
This man is blessing Joy Girl. She should be able to now get a new light.
Yep. Well, you'll definitely see the new light. I'll order it tonight for the next stream. Okay, so we've got more questions about Bonnie's real age. I'm pretty sure Bonnie's real age is when she's that old lady at Marijois. Also remember she cried for Whitebeard when he died, which pretty much implies that she knew him. Yeah, so similar thing to what I said, that I think it could be Connie and Bonnie is actually the facade. But yeah, I don't know if there was anything more that you wanted to add to that, Randy?
With the more on the Bonnie and Connie stuff?
Yeah, well, just yeah, I think we covered it, that Bonnie's real age could be, I think it's like we said, it's the question that goes in my head is that, is it the chicken or the egg, which one is which? But okay, so next, Ryo, thanks again, Ryo. Lavish bracket, and I don't know if that was just a chat to
stuff on my channel.
Okay, right, okay then. Not too sure what that means. And then the last one that we got again from Ryo, thank you. You were saying Joker. I'm gonna have to come back through the chat and see what was going on between you and Joker. Joker, you I don't know what's going on. And no, Paul Mal, what are you doing? Okay, thank you, Paul Mal. Last super. You guys are way too sweet.
You love to see it.
Yeah, you guys are.
Look, you got the heat on feet, bro.
I love it.
Don't worry, you won't get copyright strikes for that.
Thanks so much, you guys. Thanks so much, Wall Mao. Got Wall Mao in the house. and Savage.
And Io.
Yeah, and Ryo. And thank you for everyone else for all your questions as well. Definitely right. 2 hours just went super fast. Those 2 hours went super fast, which is something that, you know, I felt during the reverie as well. Those hours just flew by.
Yeah, I mean, I felt it the next day, but while it was happening,
Yeah.
it was like, it was a lot of,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun, you know. I always say I could talk about One Piece all day, but, you know,
Yeah.
you know, but then I also have other responsibilities.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun, you know, talking to other people. Like I said, it's not something that I did before, but after the reverie, it's something that I do, you know, want to do more of. You know, maybe we could do this on your channel next time. Look at me, just inviting myself to the Savage Pirates. But
No. I'd love to have you on the channel, and then, you know, we can do it at a time when Mars is asleep.
yeah,
I would have a background because Mars usually sleeps in the room that I'm in here right now. So like at the reverie, at the end of the reverie, where I was in my living room, so I'd be there, but then Chrissy would be involved.
Yeah.
So we would, you know, we'd do like a late night stream for
Definitely.
me, an early morning stream for you. We'll flip it,
Yeah.
you know, where it's early morning for me, late for you, and you know, we do something like that.
And Yamil's asking, okay, so which one came first, the Baron Tamago or the Count Nuatori? And all right, that's a good question.
The real.
Yeah, asking the real questions, Yamil. But like I said, no more super chat, guys. No more super chat. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Think see a new camera. I'm not gonna have any problems. I'll stop talking about how the camera might die on us. But it's something that we've happened. I think you left before that happened, Randy. I don't think it happened in the stream that you came on. But we've had a few streams where I've had to like turn off my camera, use the face cam because my camera just like dies midstream. And then we just get a drop in quality for the rest of it.
So I have that issue when I'm doing my my recorded videos, is that my camera, like after 12 minutes, it stops. So I have to like get up and like redo it. And
super fast.
then I actually did get it. I actually did get a new camera, like a year ago. But my computer can't handle the video files that it makes.
Oh, must be
and
shooting like 4K or
too,
something.
like I have a souped up Mac also, and it should. But I'm also utilizing Final Cut Pro 7 still. I have not updated my Mac in years.
Yeah.
So it's like. And it's just what I know. If I move to Premiere, then I could change things, but I'm just being stubborn.
I think I use Final Cut as well, but I don't think it's 7. I think it might be 10. But I know what you mean. I updated my iOS for the Mac, and then I just reverted back because I didn't like it at all. So I completely understand where you come from. I'm guilty of doing the remind me tomorrow every time an update notification comes up. So I understand completely.
Yeah. So Chrissy just messaged me and said that the engagement that she was going to go to today didn't apparently isn't panning out. She's going to explain it later. But so I mean, if we go, you know, we can end it when you're ready. But if we go a little bit longer, I guess it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Chrissy
awesome.
was going to go to a baseball game.
Right. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Well, yeah, I mean, the camera's still
here's
rolling.
the actual answer to Yamil's question, and you know, he asked what came first, Baron Tamago or Count Nuatori. The answer, yes, chat, is C. 4 tricks came first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
4 tricks came first, guys.
Trick question.
Good on you, Chin.
Yeah, good trick question. Thanks, Joker. Joker's saying that he's leaving. So thanks, Joker. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for being a great mod as always. And we had Amada Hada said, Joy Girl and Randy are a winning team. I'm really enjoying this stream. I'd watch you together again for sure. So thanks, guys, for all the good for all the messages and for staying with us. I think someone said that at one point we had 600 people in the stream, which is amazing. So, you know, like we said, maybe we'll see more of a maybe more joyful savagery. So, and we'll get Chrissy in as well.
Yeah, next, one of the next break weeks or something like that. We can do something on my channel. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
By that point, we'll have a couple more chapters. We'll have some new stuff to talk about.
And,
that'll be fun. I mean, I'll have to do what you did and figure out how to.
I'll let you know what I did, and we'll see whether it works on your end.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It only took 5 hours to figure out.
Exchange notes.
Yeah. And hey, Laffy Traffy's in here as well, everyone. Shout out to Laffy Traffy. And Laffy Traffy, yep. So Laffy Traffy also has a YouTube channel. Let me just. And also, I should announce before we end, I haven't signed in, so I can't actually do anything in the chat, so I can't actually mod anyone new today. So my apologies for that. When I saw Chrissy earlier, I tried to mod her there too, but I'm not too sure why, because I'm not too sure why it's not letting me, but I think it might be because I updated my OBS. Anyways, I'll figure it out for the next one. But what I should announce is that I will go through everyone's responses for the quiz, the Joy Girl Game 2, but only the real winner, but from the 3 of last week, it was Sean, Usame, and John, will be, I'll email you depending on whoever won for the Frankie Grand Line Man series. And we've got a question for one, Joy Girl and Randy plushies when? So it's a good question, when?
I don't even know how Morge and Roger went about doing that. So it's like, well, I think it would be funny.
Yeah.
I'd love to make a commercial like Morge did for it. I think it would be funny.
Yeah.
It would be funny. Just so you know, if you go into the VOD later and you open up the chat, if there was anybody that you wanted to specifically ever mod and there was some sort of an issue, you're actually able to find them in the chat, click the 3 circles, and you'll be able to mod them.
Oh, okay, so you can do that retrospectively. Okay, interesting.
And you can do it after too.
Yeah, okay, nice. All right, thanks for letting me know. I'll do that. And the thing about the plushies is, how many of you guys would actually buy our plushies? I think, didn't Morge say that he only made a few sales during that telethon?
So he showed up into the last stream that I did on Saturday,
I
and he
watched
told us that only 4 people had actually bought the things. So I and breaking news, guys. After Morge came into that stream and he told me that, I went and I bought a Morge.
Oh, I love it. Are you gonna sit him up with your collection?
And it was also sort of, I wanted to do it as a thank you, for the invite to the reverie and all of that. And I just think it's so silly. It's so silly.
You're gonna give him to Mars? Or you reckon Mars will be a bit terrified?
Everybody was memeing in the in the stream. They were just like, "Oh no, it's gonna give Mars nightmares."
Yeah. So funny. Okay. Well, so we're coming up to almost 1:30, so I think this is a nice time to say good night to everyone. So, any final thoughts or any final words? Yeah, it's 1:30. But it's all right. It's lockdown, so that's a good thing. That's one thing. That's the one silver lining I have about Sydney going back into lockdown, is that I can do more streams and speaking to you guys. I was only able to do the reverie, I think, because of the lockdown. But I wanted to say thank you to the Savage Gang, and obviously thank you to the Savage King himself, Randy. And did you have any final words or any final thoughts?
No, I mean, this has been a lot of fun. So if anybody in the chat wants to find me, it's just the Randy Troy channel. I am me.
Yep.
And we do this One Piece thing over there.
Yep. Obviously, yep, everyone make sure to check out Randy Troy's channel. Hopefully Chrissy can join us next time as well. And everyone check out his newest video about Kaido and rocks, which we talked about earlier. He goes into a lot of more detail there, which is interesting stuff. And everyone from Randy, from the Savage Gang already know that Randy always has good takes, which we all saw in the Reverie. So I hope to see you guys in the next stream or in the next video, and I think I think I saw a question. Okay, we got one last question about who will join the Straw Hats. On Randy's behalf, I know that Randy's answer is Momo and Tama as the Straw Hats apprentices. Me, I have a video about that you can go watch, but I'll discuss it in the next stream. We don't have time anymore. So we'll say good night. And thank you all so much again for joining us, and I'll see you again soon.
Savage.
Savage. Okay. Bye, guys.